Hi, my name is Haley. I'm a senior at college and I have been trying to write a book my whole life and I finally wrote two. Before I talk about these two books I did finish, I want to talk a little bit more about my sordid past with writing. So last year I outlined completely this book I called Fantasy Marching Band. I outlined it all the way through and I wrote about 75% of it. I think my problem with Fantasy Marching Band was that I reread it, and I should not have reread it because while I was rereading it I just saw plot hole after plot hole. So there was just all these problems, and even though I had the rest outlined, I was so disheartened with what I had already written that I just stopped and I never finished that. Last summer, I was so determined. My only goal was to finish a freaking book, and I had the idea of, I referred to it as Dungeons and Dragons rom-com, and I decided that since Marching Band had failed so badly with an outline, I was going to try pantsing, and I was going to try writing my Dungeons and Dragons rom-com with no outline, which also was a huge fail, I would say, in a bigger way. So now we're at quarantine, and at the beginning of quarantine, March, I was like, damn it, if not now, when? If not me, who? And I love watching Kate Kavanaugh on AuthorTube. If you watch her also, comment down below, can we please dish? She's like currently probably my favorite YouTuber. And Kate Kavanaugh in a video said, when you finish a novel, you now know how to finish a novel, and that's like a skill in itself. And so hearing that advice, I was like, dang, I want to finish one. So in March, I was feeling frustrated because I had a book idea, which I referred to as Fine Family, but I could not outline it for the life of me. So I sat down on my kitchen table and I pulled up a Word doc and I wrote 1 through 14. And I was like, I'm gonna outline a damn book. I've read books. I know what a book should be. So I did chapter 1, main character Tom is in school, and I kind of like bounced around as I outlined. So like I actually outlined chapter 1 and chapter 14 first, and then I like kind of filled in holes as I thought, and I had literally never thought about these characters, which I think you can tell. I wrote the outline for 14 chapters, and I pulled up a new Word doc and I was like, I am going to just write this, and I'm gonna write this outline, and I don't care. And I don't care if I fall out of love with the characters. I don't care if I reread and there's plot holes. I don't care. Like, I am just going to write this, and this will be the first book I've written. And then it freaking was! So this is it. I had it printed online when I finished it. So I finished this June 7th, and I started it in March. And it's called The Bone Boys by Haley Nelson. I will read to you the little blurb I had printed on the back. Everyone does embarrassing things in middle school. Starting off very relatable. For Tom and his friends, it was a ghost hunting YouTube series called The Bone Boys. However, when a face from the past comes back to haunt them, can Tom and his friends escape with their lives and dignities intact? This is about 33,000 words. NaNoWriMo is supposed to be 50,000 words, so this is way under, but it is done. And for that, I love it. So I finished this June 7th, and then last night, August 18th, I finished my first draft of The Fine Family, which I ordered and it will be delivered to my house in 2 weeks. Riley Fine lives an ordinary life, and she's just fine with that. Everything changes when she learns the truth about her family tree. Riley is whisked into the Fine family adventures by her eccentric grandmother and her wealthy, dramatic cousins. Riley is happy to help, but she must decide if some family secrets are better off buried. So like I mentioned, before I wrote Bone Boys, I was trying and struggling to outline Fine Family, and I just couldn't do it. I think I just need to take a better look at what structures of books should be and like outlines and like where the beats should go. Like I think that Save the Cat is kind of about that, so I'd love to look at that. The Fine Family, I ended that draft at 43,000 words. So still under NaNoWriMo, but 10,000 words more than Bone Boys. So I thought it was so interesting to me to compare my experience writing Bone Boys to writing Fine Family. And something I really notice is I care so much about my Fine Family characters. I was sort of sad when I stopped writing Fine Family because I really felt that the characters did not get what they deserved, and they deserved like a better, not necessarily happier, but just like more satisfying ending to their story. I feel like even though I may not ever edit this story again and, make it better than this crazy draft, I do feel like I learned so much from writing this, and my biggest thing I learned was your main character has to change, and in order for your character to change and have an arc, your character needs to face decisions, which Tom unfortunately did not get to, but when I was working on Fine Family, even as I was pantsing, I really made a conscious effort. I always gave Riley decisions, and even near the end when things were falling apart in that draft, I really wanted to make this video to always remember this moment. I finished writing 2 books! And now I'm gonna start writing another book because I feel like during the school semester I'll be able to edit books easier than I will be able to write them because I'll be more drained. So, and I can edit books just by like daydreaming during a Zoom call, thinking about new ideas, but I won't really be able to write them as much. And despite the fact that I read mostly fantasy, I struggle so much writing fantasy. World building is like so hard and I just like don't do it, which is difficult. So my next book I'm gonna write, mark my words, no magic, no fantasy, it is gonna be a contemporary young adult romance, maybe new adult if I set it out of college, unclear right now. And I decided I'm gonna make this 3rd book my Dungeons & Dragons rom-com because I feel like it's such an untapped source of hilarious hijinks of the romantic comedic kind. Thank you for watching, and I want to hear all about your writing experiences this quarantine. Has it been easier or harder for you to write? I'll also make a video when Fine Family arrives in the mail so I can hold up both of them victorious.